I, a girl from a small town like Bareilly, from an army officer's family, middle class background, can today be a movie star giving an inspirational speech to you? Today be debuting in America as an international pop star? Can't any one of you do it? If I can do it, you can do it, right? So I was called here today to speak about my perfect life being, the perfect Priyanka, being an actress, being in Bollywood, and how all of you maybe and a lot of other people that must be thinking how my life is absolutely perfect, and you know what? It probably is. My life has been a little bit of a fairy tale. When I started off, I was, my parents in the army. My life to me has been an epitome of imperfection, actually. When it started out right in the beginning, everything about me, for me, was chances, was being scared, was being fearful. When I was a kid, like I said, I was an army kid. We moved around every 2 years. Somewhere, moving every 2 years gave me an opportunity to start all over. Har 2 saal jate hain, different school. If I got bad results in the earlier school, I would do better in the next school. If I didn't have friends, if I was naughty, if I was punished, you could always start all over again. So my life somewhere has been sort of nomadic almost. And why I said imperfections, I was a gawky kid. I was a kid full of fear, insecurities, somebody who had very low self-esteem, didn't believe in myself at all. The only thing that I knew that I had was the ability to work bloody damn hard. And that's the only thing that I did. When I moved around from school to school, my dad, my mom, making new friends, the only thing that I knew consistently was I didn't know who I was. And that's fine. We always strive to try and look for who am I? Who am I going to be? Who am I wanting to be? Should I be what my friends expect me to be? Or, I'm not wearing the newest shoes. I had a backpack in school, which being from the army, you come from modest backgrounds and everything. But I had a backpack which I got repaired for almost 3 years before I could buy a new one. Not that my parents were of modest upbringing, but because I somewhere said, you know what, this backpack se kya farak padta hai, main to bandi hu. Backpack pehne se cool thodi na ho jaungi. So it is about overcoming those little things that I did. When I was 13 years old, I went on a holiday to America for the first time. Pehli baar, I went to a beauty parlor. मैं मम्मी के साथ गई थी कि मैं अपने बाल कटवाऊंगी. I'm going to America. It's a big deal. From Bareilly to Boston, my first journey. The last posting that my parents had was in Bareilly, and from there I suddenly went to Boston. When I went to school for the first time, India mein I was a very intelligent kid when I was in school. You know how we become teachers' pets if you're the first one to give the answer? Teacher asks the question, you say, ma'am, me, I want to answer. And you're the pet. When I went to America, मेरे साथ उल्टा हुआ. Every time I raised my hands, all the kids looked at me like, क्या है? You're cooler if you don't know the answers. You're cooler if you're not smart, which was a logic I never understood. But I started hiding my being intelligent in 9th standard when I reached there. I stopped answering the questions. अभी grades तो लाने ही थे, नहीं तो मेरी मासी मुझे डांटती. It was actually a holiday that I went for. I went to school, I went to see my cousin's school. It was very cool, big schools, with lockers and all. You watch it in, English movies. You have lockers with those combination locks, and you have all these students who are trying to be. And I was a scared, gawky 12-year-old, stepping into my teens. I didn't know what I was doing. For the first 2 months of being in school, and have any of you watched these American high school movies? High school is exactly like that. It is peer pressure, scary, popular kids, unpopular kids, nerds, geeks, all of that. So I didn't understand that funda at all. For the first 2 months, मुझे पता ही नहीं था कि cafeteria में जाके खाना खाना पड़ता है. And as soon as I used to look down, staircase होता था. I used to look down in the cafeteria. Everybody had a seat because they came from middle school to high school themselves. So everybody had their seats. The cool kids hung out together, the sporty kids hung out together. The geeky kids hung out together. I didn't know where I should go. So I used to take my lunch money, buy vending machines, I used to buy chips and sit in the bathroom and eat so that people didn't know that I didn't go to the cafeteria. So people didn't think that I didn't know how to stand in that line and take food from the cafeteria. Slowly, of course, I overcame that. One girl saw me doing that in the cafeteria and became my friend. She took me to the caf, found a place for me to sit. The first time I had walked in with that tray and they put mashed potatoes for me, I thought it was vanilla ice cream. And I said, "Arey, ye to vanilla ice cream kharab ho gayi." And she looked at me like, "It's mashed potatoes." And I was like, "Oh." I didn't know what mashed potatoes was. All this American funda took me a little while. 9th standard, 10th standard. By then I sort of started coming into my own. I became relatively popular because I started taking part in, meko pata nahi tha what I like doing. I didn't know that, do I like singing, do I like what kind of extracurriculars, and you have to take extracurriculars. So I didn't understand that. I took everything. I did ballet for 1 semester, I played the drums for 1 semester, I did Broadway for 1 semester, I did dancing for a semester. I didn't know what all I was doing besides studying. So I became an honor roll student. I did almost every possible extracurricular that I could, trying to find who I was. In the meantime, there was this one thing which you'll find very interesting, that I had a lot of racist issues happening with me. I used to walk past and this cluster of girls, for what reason they hated me, I don't know. But they started calling me Brownie. They started calling me all these strange names. And you know, when you're 12 or 13, when you're typecasted and stereotyped, and I'm sure a lot of us may have gone through it at different phases in life, where you're typecast, ki "Arey, ye to aisi hai, arey, ye to waisa hai, isko kuch pata nahi." But when it came down to my culture and being pointed a finger at because I was Indian, and I'm not saying all of America is like that, my high school experience for a little while was like that. So they started calling me all these names. So once I had a fight, and a proper mukka mari wali, like proper fight, because this girl started insinuating rubbish things to me, and she said, "Ki theek hai, you know what, I'll meet you in a basketball court." And she became all like, you know, like a wrestler type to me. So abhi main bhi dar gayi thi, but abhi, you know, ego up ki baat aa jati hai kabhi kabhi. I walked out on that basketball court with 3-4 of my friends, and there were about 25 of these girls standing there. And basketball court, matlab ghaas nahi mila tha un logon ko. I still have, you know, scars from that fight. So she jumped onto me, we fought. Counselor aa gayi, bahut log chilla rahe the, fight, cat fight, ye wo. I broke her nose and she scratched my face. And then I was suspended for 3 days. Not something to be proud of. But my mom came to visit me. I was in 11th standard, and I said, "Yaar, main thak gayi hu. I don't know if I can fight this anymore. Maybe I have not understood what I am." And I did really well in school. You know, I was 1 year away from graduating, and I told my mom, "I just want to go back." And my experience in America was an incredible experience. It taught me so much. It taught me about music. It taught me self-confidence. It taught me about life in general. But it took away a little bit of my confidence from me for being Indian, for being brownie, for being brown and saying, "You know what, I can also conquer the world." And I told my mom, "Ki, you know, main haar gayi hu, mujhse nahi hota. I want to come back to India." My parents were in Bareilly that time. So from Boston back to Bareilly. Next journey. I came back to Bareilly for 12th standard. Abhi yahan aake science student, I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer. Acha, in my entire life, every year I wanted to be something else. Every year. So one time I wanted to be a dancer. When I was 4 years old, मैं fancy dress show में दुल्हन बन के गई थी because I found it very fascinating कि, you know, दुपट्टा सर पे जाके ऐसे ऐसे जाना चाहिए. So my ambition in life was to be a dulhan boy. I couldn't make up my mind about what I liked, what I wanted to do. So by the time I came back to school, I figured कि मैं math student हूँ, मुझे math बहुत पसंद है, physics मुझे बहुत पसंद है. I want to be an engineer. I want to be an aeronautical engineer because I love the idea of flying. It's the only thing that I think made me and all of us feel free. कि यार मैं उड़ सकती हूँ. So I studied really hard. India वापस आके syllabus blew my mind. वहाँ पे तो honor roll student, 4.0 GPA, ये वो, यहाँ आके trigonometry, calculus, physics, chemistry. I lost my mind. I was only doing tuitions. I forgot who I was. मैं बस यहाँ के आके I was going to school, coming from maths tuition, physics tuition, Hindi tuition, ये tuition, वो tuition. रात को 4 घंटे सोती थी, boards के exam. For a while I started thinking it would have been better if I was there only. 1 साल की बात थी, 1 और 2 नाक तोड़ देती maybe, and I would have been fine. I would have graduated, But I came back. So my poor mother sort of felt bad for me. हमारे घर पे Femina magazine आती थी. And they have that Miss India contest का form every year. And just for fun, I was 17 years old that time. Just for fun, my brother decided to tell my mom, who was 10 years old. हमारा चोपड़ा family बहुत आगे की सोचता है. तो who was 10 years old told mom कि mom देखो दीदी लंबी है, थोड़ी बहुत ठीक ठाक भी लगती है. It's okay ना if she goes for Miss India. What is there? So my mother just as a joke, हमने वो soft focus वो photo studios होते हैं ना, उसमें I had taken photographs for a scholarship program in Australia which I wanted to apply for. Soft focus, ऐसे ऐसे करके poses जो लेने होते हैं, like that. I won Miss India, 17 years old. And suddenly I realized कि भाई अभी exams का क्या होगा? पढ़ाई कैसे होगी? Anyway, वो सब हुआ. 4 महीने बाद I had to go for Miss World. It is mandatory that you have to go for Miss World. At 17, the millennium year, 2000, I was sent to London, shipped off, to be participating in Miss World, in the Miss World pageant, which had winners from 96 countries. And these are stunning, beautiful, model-like girls. Matlab, they were some 300 feet tall. And gazelle-like, beautiful hair, light eyes. I reached the airport, my mother was with me, poor thing. I looked at her and I said, "Agli flight mein वापस जाना चाहिए." Very bad idea for my confidence. Very bad idea for my upbringing. कैसी माँ हो, यहाँ पे ले आई मुझे. And my mother said, अच्छा अभी आ गए हैं, देश का सवाल है, just do your best. After that you go back to school, what is there? So I said, all right. ये सोच के I went for Miss World. करते करते करते, by the time 2 days, 3 days came close, I was one of the highest rated to win Miss World. They have those polls and all of those things. And I started thinking कि हमारी इंडिया की population तो ज़्यादा है, ज़्यादा लोगों ने वोट किया होगा. Voting से होता था. कि that is the one thing that we know how to do very well, procreate. And voting happened. The day I won Miss World, my life changed. I was not 17 anymore. I suddenly grew up. Anyway, Miss World happened. I grew up, I stepped up, and I said ki I have to be the ambassador of the country. Every time I met girls who were my school classmates, when I came back to India, suddenly they were taking my autographs, suddenly they were becoming my fans and talking about, Priyanka, we look up to you. Arey, abhi to mere class mein thi tum. And right now they used to say, ki, oh, you're not getting this physics ka problem, tumhe to kuch nahi aata, and looking down upon me, and suddenly I was an idol. Because I knew the answer to the economy of Uganda. So, but life changed. I grew up and I didn't know where I was going after that. I was confused. I didn't know if I should go back to study. I didn't know if I should do anything. I didn't know what to do. 1 year I traveled like a nomad wherever Miss World took me as the ambassador of the country, as a goodwill ambassador to the world. And my mother told me, ki, "Arey bhai, ab padhai kaun karega?" First question after I won Miss World, who's going to study? Oh, you have won, congratulations. What is going to happen? Very supportive parents. After that, I went back to college. I joined Jai Hind College after I became Miss World because I was very academically driven. I wanted to study. I went back to college, but it didn't happen. क्लास में नहीं बैठने देते थे मुझे because everybody was like, oh, Miss World, ये वो. तो थोड़ा हवा बच गया था मेरा. It wasn't working out. Being a science student and going to a college where nobody was actually my classmate, but everybody looked at me like, अरे भाई ये कौन आ गया? Movies started happening to me. माँ नहीं आता था movies का मुझे. So movies happened. I told my mom, I said, movies? She said, acting. I said, वो भी हो जाएगी, ये हो गया तो हो जाएगी. She said, look, there's only one thing she told me. She said, whatever you do, know that it was your decision. Do you have the courage of conviction to say that today I'm getting out of college, today I'm going to join a film. Tomorrow when people throw stones at me and then say I don't know how to act, or say that I'm not good enough, will you be able to deal with it? So I told her, I don't know, but I'm willing to try. I want to give it a shot. And I did. I didn't know how to act. The only thing I knew was that I can learn. I learned how to survive in an American high school. I learned how to be Miss India when I didn't know anything. I didn't even know how to walk in heels or wear a sari. I learned to represent my country at Miss World. I will learn to act. वो एक चीज मुझे आती है. So when I won my first debut award, I looked at it and I said, अरे, तो मुझे acting आती होगी. Let's give this a shot. But you know, the thing is, I've always, which is something I'll tell all of you, life can never be safe. And if it's safe, it's not worth living. It really isn't. I didn't know what to do in movies. I didn't have a godfather. I didn't have somebody giving me advice and telling me कि अच्छा ये film तुम्हारे लिए अच्छी है, ये film बुरी है. My parents, poor thing, were doctors. They didn't know anything. Nobody to tell me or recommend me in a film. बहुत सारी ऐसी फिल्में थी from which I was thrown out because somebody was recommended. Because the hero likes this heroine, so I'm sorry Priyanka, you can't be cast in the film. I never had that. I never had anybody saying, you know, why don't we cast Priyanka Chopra in this movie because, yeah, mujhe pasand hai. I never had that. All I had was dedication, hard work, and trying to prove कि अगर मैंने chance लिया है to be a part of films, maybe I can do a little bit more. And I started taking risks. I didn't know it at that point, but now at hindsight, if I look at it, my career has always been instinctive. If you've watched my films, you'll know the second year of movies for me, I did a film called Etraz. Everyone told me when I did that film कि तुम्हें heroine बनना है. If you do this film, तुम vamp बन के रह जाओगे. That's all you'll be. You'll be a vamp. Nobody will cast you as a heroine. You'll always be, you know, like one of those girls who comes and tries to take away the heroine. But something in my heart told me that that film was an interesting movie. I did it. I won all the awards that year for the negative character, and it was my second year in films. Then I did a film called Fashion. I was 3 years into films around that time. Only about 3 years. Everybody told me कि female-oriented pictures कोई नहीं देखता. Heroines करती हैं female-oriented films when their careers are over. You know, when they're about to get married or they don't have a career anymore. Why are you doing it so early? I just knew I believed in it. I just knew Madhur and I sat down. मुझे scripting के बारे में कुछ नहीं पता था. मुझे बस पता था कि कहानी मुझे सुननी आती है. मैं कहानी बताना मुझे पता है. So I sat with him. I told him I like the script. ऐसे करना चाहिए. मेघना ऐसी होगी. And somewhere she was a small town girl, so I related to her. I stood on this stage and won a national award for that film. When everybody told me I couldn't do it. Then I did a lot of other films I took chances in. They didn't do well. Some of them don't do well. Some of them do well. I did What's Your Rashi? None of you liked it. Nobody went and saw it. But it was a big chance for an actress. 12 roles. Today I'm in the world. I have some world record for the only actress who has ever played 12 different parts. I don't want my life to be one of the many. I want to be different. And it's okay to be different. When we talk about perfection is accepting who you are and being okay with it. I never thought, growing up or even today, that I'm the best looking girl in the world. I'm not. I'm not Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, perfect, stunning. I'm not. But in the beginning when I joined films, I was not conventional. People used to say, Arey, she's too dusky, she's too dark to be a heroine. People used to say, you know, she doesn't have the perfect features. But all I did throughout this whole thing was smile through it. Because somebody told me my smile is nice. Now they say it's plastic surgery. But abhi tak same smile raha hai mera. And the reason why people say I have a nice smile is because it comes into my eyes. And it comes into my eyes with the knowledge of knowing that I am who I am and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with making mistakes. Taking chances makes you feel alive. And no matter what anybody turns around and tells you कि यार ये नहीं होगा, अगर दिल में आता है ना तो कर दो. If you don't do it in your youth, when are you going to do it? When you're bloody 50? Now, I'm at a point in my life, over the last 2-3 years, where I've become comfortable with who I am. अभी तक मैं ढूंढ रही थी कि भाई who am I? What do I like doing? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? Do I want to be like Kajol? Do I want to be like Madhuri? Do I want to be like Sridevi? In the last 3 years, I've realized that Priyanka is okay. Priyanka is fine, and I actually want to be her. Music, movies, life, everything for me has been completely, wholly and solely inspired from one thing, which is something inside of me, my conscience that tells me that no matter what I do, I will not lose my respect doing it. I will not lose my dignity as a woman doing it. Be yourselves. Guys, it's great to be you. As soon as we decide कि अरे मुझे इसके कपड़े अच्छे लगते हैं, you know, I want to be like her, we forget who we are. We forget who we ever wanted to be. As soon as you realize कि you know what, मुझे तो दाल अच्छी लगती है, मेरे को चिकन नहीं खाना. Not because everybody is eating chicken around you, it's the right thing to do. But मुझे vegetarian बनना है. Not that I'm vegetarian. Sorry, no offense to all vegetarians. Just a metaphor. But it's okay to be different. It's all right to not fit in. I've not fit in anywhere. I never fitted in anywhere. Today, even as an actress, I don't fit in. लोग मुझे कहते हैं हमने बर्फी जैसी फिल्म की, रे glamorous roles करने चाहिए. अरे नहीं करने मुझे. If I, a girl from a small town like Bareilly, from an army officer's family, middle class background, can today be a movie star giving an inspirational speech to you, today be debuting in America as an international pop star, can't any one of you do it? If I can do it, you can do it, right? The world is your oyster. Put your finger on it and you can be it. That is what today's generation can do.